Grace accepts Bill's massive payoff, endangering Liam's life. Bold and the Beautiful sees Dr. Grace Buckingham telling Bill Spencer there might be hope for Liam Spencer, and then she executes some type of dangerous treatment on him for big, huge dollars. We're going to speak about whether Grace is doing what's best for Liam or best for her cash account. Or maybe it's the best of both worlds, and Bill pays Grace to do something outside of orthodox treatment, and it truly works to cure Liam's cancer. The Buckingham family drama and Bill's desperation. So, we know from Grace's recent phone calls there's some conflict going on in the family. If you don't recall, her ex, Reese Buckingham, who's the father of her children, Paris Buckingham and Zoe Buckingham, is a real piece of work. He could be part of the problem. Bottom line, Grace needs money, and Bill has heaps and tons of it. Plus, he's got a very sick kid who he's trying to heal, especially when Hope Logan and Steffi Forrester chewed him a new one and stated Liam didn't want Bill to know about the cancer because his dad is so selfish. Now, I don't remember once Liam saying anything like that. This is either Hope and Steffi simply being rude, or this is Brad Bell believing that viewers don't recall conversation, and he's just rewriting history because Liam was keeping it a secret because he didn't want sympathy, and he didn't want people, doting on him on his way out. He just wanted to live out what life he had normally. If you recall, Liam didn't even want to tell Hope at first, and Steffi blabbed it because he wouldn't tell. And Ridge Forrester, of course, lost his mind. He was calling him Billy. I've never heard it before out of Ridge's lips, and Ridge has really no room to talk to anyone about anything, to be honest. Bold and the Beautiful. Grace takes huge payoff from Bill. Risks Liam's life, soap dirt. Grace and Bill's secret plan. Will experimental treatment save Liam? So this week, Grace and Bill have conversation. Now that Hope blurted out that Liam has cancer, Bill's even more scared than he already was when he heard that Liam was shot. So, Bill talks to Grace in private, and he wants to know if there's any chance Liam can survive this cancer. He got doom and gloom news from Hope and Steffi, and that's because they genuinely do think there's no chance. There have been repeat scans and tests from the neuro team that numerous doctors, including Finn, have looked over. Everybody agreed that it's dire. And if you recall, I think it was 2 months ago that Grace did offer Liam some treatment options, radiation, and chemotherapy to give him more time with his girls, even if the tumor was incurable. He chatted to Steffi and Finn about quality of life and if he should do the treatments. And then he never accomplished anything. They just dropped it. And then just the other day, that came back up again. And Grace started urging Finn to urge Liam to take the treatment immediately before it's too late. So again, no, I know there's sensationalism out there, but I do not think Grace is faking Liam's cancer. Too many doctors have looked at the scans. I mean, that would be a whole lot of fakery, right? Anyway, this questionable new treatment, though, is a whole different issue. $1 million surgery. Is Grace's risky procedure a cure or a scam? So once Bill asked Grace whether there's any way to save Liam Spencer, she answers, "What if I told you there is?" And then this week, it looks like Bill is going to send Grace $1 million, while Liam is wrapped up in some blue hospital material looking doubtful. And then, his face is out, and the top of his head looks like she's going to cut his noggin open. We know that Grace does surgery on Liam this week, and Bill is waiting expectantly on that outcome. And the leaker, who so far is 100% dependable, that's sharing material, claimed Liam is going to be having experimental treatment at a private clinic. This is the leaker that also indicated he'd be in a coma, which he was. And then they stated that Liam comes out of the coma, which is done, and then is going to be plucked out of the hospital by Bill and transported to a private facility where Grace and another doctor are going to conduct experimental things on his brain. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Secret clinic, risky procedures, and Bill's control. So, I wonder whether Bill has Liam transferred and then the surgery is at the new clinic. The timing on the spoilers sound like that Grace does the surgery and then Bill takes him. So, whatever the order is, it sounds like Grace needs Liam away from the hospital to conduct more experimental stuff on his cancer. It sounds unsafe and dangerous, and is likely to come at a heavy cost to Bill's budget. But if Grace can do some cutting-edge thing with this other doctor and save Liam, I'm sure it's worth every dime to Bill. But I wonder if Grace genuinely thinks this surgery will work and save Liam. Or she's just trying to get a payout from Dollar Bill and is stalling. Maybe Liam is going to die regardless. Now, I've mentioned this before. I don't think they're murdering off Scott Clifton. I expected it was going to be an 11th hour miracle cure, or something like they did on Eric Forrester, because Brad Bell loves to recycle themes. There's some individuals on soap social media who remarked, "Oh, they won't fake Luna Nozua's death, because that's a repeat plot, and they wouldn't do this with Liam. It's a repeat plot. Brad Bell repeats plots. They have like 5, and they simply keep refurbishing them. That's what Bold and the Beautiful does. Ethical dilemmas and medical mysteries. What's really happening to Liam?" Anyway, considering that Grace actually does seem to do surgery on Liam this week, cutting into his brain and whatnot, maybe the surgery was inoperable if they weren't prepared to take risks, and maybe this experimental procedure wouldn't be authorized at that LA hospital. But in a private clinic, Grace and this new doctor we're going to see can try things that are more risky. If Liam's going to die anyhow, I'm betting Bill is willing to take risks and spend lots for any kind of Hail Mary alternative. I do wonder if Liam consents to all this, or maybe Bill takes complete control and consents on his behalf. Grace may have Bill sign papers for the procedure and the transfer. Grace could contend that Liam's brain tumor makes him incompetent to make decisions for his own care because his brain is impaired. Something like that. But again, B&B doesn't genuinely bother about laws. So, they may not even explain it. So Bill could take control. I'm guessing Liam doesn't want to be brought somewhere that Steffi and Hope can't see him. But Bill wants him apart from all of them. Maybe he thinks if he can save Liam, people will back off and quit shouting at him. He doesn't need trash from Steffi and her mom Taylor Hayes, since remember, she shot Bill in the back and Steffi asked him to cover, and so Bill gently didn't seek charges on Taylor. Finn's suspicions and Luna's fate. Unanswered questions on Bold and the Beautiful. So the thing is, we know Grace genuinely needs the money. So her motives are not merely about patient care. This may be about getting whoever keeps texting and calling her off her back. And in this week's ad, Finn chats to Bridget Forrester about something not being usual policy. They find it unusual. It could be about Grace having dangerous surgery and perhaps transferring Liam away from the hospital. Or it could be about Luna and the disposal of her body, because I'm still not certainly Finnegan, being honest, and that Luna is genuinely dead. When Lee talked to Finn this week about Luna, I get the impression that Lee was testing the waters to see whether she could inform Finn that Luna had survived. So we'll see. We know Grace has done questionable things in the past on Bold and the Beautiful. Bold and the Beautiful. Grace gets it done? And, she's gone back crap crazy, like when she was going nuts about Carter Walton dating Paris. Now she's back for Liam's life and death storyline. And, again, I don't believe it's probable he's going to die. And maybe because of Grace and this experimental regimen that Bill Spencer is going to start supporting. That's what saves his life. We know from leaked screenplays that Liam has sequences in September, a full 2 months from now. So maybe he'll be off canvas for a long, having covert, nasty cancer treatments. Hope and Steffi are not going to be delighted if Bill takes Liam right out from under them. But Bill's determined to save Liam after getting Luna the pardon and her shooting Liam. So I expect Bill to go to extremes, and clearly Steffi and Hope are going to panic out when Bill runs off with them. So maybe Grace puts Liam into a medically induced coma so that Bill can take control and they can transport him away without his consent, without the ladies knowing. We'll see if Liam's next of kin is Dollar Bill. Private clinic awaits Liam. Bill buys experimental treatment. The Bold and the Beautiful Spoilars update for Tuesday, July 15th, indicates that a private facility will await Liam Spencer after Bill Spencer buys an experimental treatment to save his son. Thanks to what Hope Logan blurted out at the hospital, Bill knows about Liam's inoperable brain tumor. Of course, Bill refuses to recognize this is the end of the road, so he'll be desperate when he looks to Grace Buckingham for aid on Tuesday's B&B episode. Bill will be looking for any conceivable method to score some hope for Liam's future. That's when Grace will reveal there could be a method to keep Liam alive, but it'll cost a lot of money to make it happen. Luckily, Dollar Bill indeed has lots of money to use in instances like this. Once Bill gets on board with the experimental treatment that Grace proposes, he'll pay $1 million and may promise there's more where that came from if necessary. Grace will rush Liam into surgery, so that'll be step one of this therapy program. However, a private clinic and a different doctor's regimen will await Liam later during the week of July 14th to 18th. As for Grace, it's obvious to see she's not doing all this out of the kindness of her heart. Grace cares about Liam as her patient, but there's more on the line for her than just saving him. It sounds like Grace may have some obligations relating to her former spouse, Dr. Reese Buckingham, so it's possible she's being threatened to cooperate with all this. Whatever the case, Liam is facing a terminal prognosis anyhow, so he might as well go through with this experimental procedure and get his best shot at survival. Since Liam wants to stick around to witness Kelly Spencer and Beth Spencer grow up, this may be his only opportunity to make that happen. Over with Bridget Forrester and John Finnegan, they'll be thrown when Grace goes against hospital rules and starts making some dubious moves. Finn and Bridget won't get updates on the complete scenario, so they'll discuss the matter and try to make sense of Grace's behavior. The bold and the beautiful spoilers claim Liam could have wonderful news going his way if this treatment works, so stay tuned. B&B Spoilars Hope wants Liam back. Will Lope get another chance? The bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate that Hope Logan wants Liam Spencer back. After seeing him fight for his life, Hope realizes she still loves him and wants to put her family back together. Liam's situation is critical. Hope and Steffi Forrester remain at his bedside, begging for a miracle. Lee Finnegan and Bridget Forrester anticipate Liam will make a full recovery, but it will be a hard journey. Steffi is grateful to Liam. He sacrificed his life to rescue her life. The bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate that Liam thought he was a dead man walking, giving him the courage to fight Luna Nozawa for the gun. Hope wants Liam back. The bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate that Hope will realize that she wants to put her family together. She wants to make whatever time he has left unforgettable. Hope feels convinced that Liam would leap at the chance to be back together. However, Liam could reject her. It's not likely, but it may happen. The difficulty with Hope's attempt to reunite with Liam is Carter Walton. Carter is looking forward to marrying Hope and being a stepfather to her daughter. He even brought up having another kid with Hope. If Hope informs Carter that she wants to give her relationship with Liam, he will be saddened. He feels Hope wants a life with him. It would be a shock to hear that she wished to rejoin with her ex-husband. Hope must feel conflicted. She loves Carter and envisions a real future with him, but Liam is precious to her. They share a child and have loved one another for many years. Will Hope and Liam reunite? The big topic on B&B fans' minds is Lope getting back together. It appears like that is where this tale is going. However, it could be a fake out. Liam may not want to reunite with Hope. He could still want Steffi, but it isn't likely either. Steffi's marriage to John Finnegan is strong, at least right now. That could alter in the aftermath of Luna's death. The bold and the beautiful spoilers predict Hope will offer an impassioned plea to Liam, imploring him for another opportunity. Bill's specialist uncovers Liam's fake diagnosis, exposes Grace Con. The bold and the beautiful rumors indicate that Bill Spencer will take charge and appoint specialists to take over Liam Spencer's care. He doesn't trust Lee Finnegan and Bridget Forrester to find a treatment for his son's inoperable brain tumor. Liam's condition is really bad right now. Not only is he battling a brain tumor, but he took a bullet to the chest to protect Steffi Forrester. His doctors hope that he will make a full recovery, but his condition is far from stable. B&B Spoilers indicate that Bill will opt to fire his doctors and bring in world-renowned specialists to take over Liam's care. When the specialists take control, it won't take long for them to discover out Liam's brain tumor is nothing but a fraud. Bill's specialist discovers Liam's fake diagnosis. The bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate that Bill's specialists will do their own tests on Liam. They appreciate the work his physicians put into his care, but they want additional scans to evaluate if his health has changed. They are especially interested in observing if his brain tumor has expanded. The physicians will likely be confused when they don't see a lump in his brain. They cannot comprehend why his headaches and symptoms are worsening when they don't see any evidence of a brain tumor. After they undertake a series of tests, they conclude that Grace Buckingham misdiagnosed Liam. They further discover that the drug Grace prescribed could be the main cause of his dizzy episodes, exhaustion, and pounding headaches. Bill exposes Grace Buckingham's con. The bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate that Bill cannot control his wrath when he learns about Grace's incompetence. She trusted her discernment before, but to inform Liam's he is dying when he wasn't crosses the line. Bill becomes concerned with finding out if Grace purposefully made his son sick or if she merely misdiagnosed him. He might have his team dig into Grace to find whether she has a cause for her action. B&B Spoilars indicate that Bill's investigator discovers that Grace's acts are related to her ex-husband, Reese Buckingham. Somehow, that deceitful man is forcing Grace to make his son sick with the deadly pharmaceutical cocktail. It started with a desperate father and a dying son. Liam Spencer had been proclaimed terminal. His inoperable brain tumor coiled brutally around a part of his intellect that once made him strong, brave, and caring. He had already survived a bullet from Luna Nozawa in a horrible act of violence that had horrified the Forrester and Spencer families. But now he confronted something even more scary than gunshots: silence from his own head. While his loved ones stood by, clinging to slivers of hope, one man refused to surrender: Bill Spencer. Billionaire, giant, parent, and now a desperate man on the verge of reason. Bill refused to bury another family member, not after the loss of Caroline and all the failures he'd faced as a father. So when Dr. Grace Buckingham leaned forward, eyes flashing with anxious hope, and whispered, "There may be another way, but it'll cost you," Bill didn't flinch. $1 million was a drop in the ocean of his enterprise, but it might spell life for Liam, or it could suggest he was being conned. Grace had luggage, heavy, distrustful, and full of secrets. Her ex-husband Reese Buckingham was a disgraced doctor, a scoundrel who stole babies and wrecked lives. Her daughters Paris and Zoe seldom spoke to each other anymore. Rumors swirled that Grace owed money, not just credit cards or hospital board dues, but deadly money, the kind of money that made people disappear. Still, Bill paid. The instant the money flowed into Grace's secret account, the agreement was struck. She called in a consult with an anonymous doctor from Zurich, a man alleged to have employed gene therapy in prohibited ways, a ghost in the worldwide medical system. The plan? To surgically alleviate pressure on Liam's tumor, inject precise nanocompounds, and attempt a neurological reset. A Frankenstein blend of wild science and reckless hope. Grace swore it had worked in 2 other cases, neither of which could be substantiated, but Bill didn't ask for proof. He wanted a miracle, not a paper trail. And so Liam, still delicate and groggy from weeks in a coma, was drugged further. Consent was fuzzy. He was barely coherent, wandering between agony and memory. Steffi and Hope had no clue. Finn got skeptical, especially when Bridget Forrester received wind that Liam was being packed for transport without the hospital board's knowledge. "This isn't protocol," Bridget whispered to Finn, who was already incensed that Bill had muscled into Liam's care decisions. But it was too late. Liam was seized. Under cover of darkness, Liam's bed was carried out of the ICU, his medical records tagged restricted, and a private jet waited at an unknown airstrip in Santa Monica. Grace greeted them at the clinic, a frigid, sterile institution located in the hills outside Topanga Canyon, registered to a shell corporation. Inside, a surgical team that didn't speak much English readied the oar. Bill stood outside, watching his son's life hang between brilliance and betrayal. The surgery began. Grace chopped into Liam's skull while the mystery doctor guided her every movement. For nearly 10 hours, Liam's brain was poked, shocked, cooled, and dosed with a fluid so experimental that it hadn't passed a single U.S. study. And still Bill believed. Back at the hospital, Steffi and Hope returned to visit Liam and discovered his room empty. "Where is he?" Hope screamed, her eyes filling with horror. Finn, white-knuckled and angry, watched security footage. When he witnessed Bill personally loading Liam into a private ambulance, he almost punched a wall. "He kidnapped him," Steffi whispered. "Bill took him." Taylor and Ridge arrived within the hour. Ridge ordering LAPD be contacted. "He's insane. He has no legal right." But there were no warrants, no evidence, just the word of doctors who'd previously been undercut. Meanwhile, Grace operated with chilly precision. Sweat ran down her back as she labored, her hands quivering from strain and dread. In her thoughts, the debt collectors circled like vultures. Reese's words rang in her ear from an earlier call. "You better make this work, Grace. If the youngster dies, we both do." Was she doing this for Liam? For herself? For Reese? Or only to survive? She didn't know anymore. When Liam flatlined for 6 seconds mid-procedure, Grace froze. The second doctor yelled in Swiss-accented English, "Now, Buckingham! Again, charge the node!" She obeyed. The monitors jumped. A pulse returned. And finally the surgery concluded. But did it work? Bill gazed through the glass, his face haggard. "Tell me, is my son alive?" Grace couldn't answer. "He's stable for now." It wasn't good enough. Bill exploded, grabbing Grace by the shoulders. "I gave you $1 million. You said you could repair him." She broke. "I said I could try," she screamed. "This is medicine, not magic."